The 5th seed is making her 3rd appearance in the United States Open Finals from Coldwater, Michigan, Sandra Jo Shirey. Her opponent in match 1 is making her 1st appearance in the United States Open Stepladder Finals. She comes to us from Bossier City, Louisiana, Diana Teeters. The number 3 seed is the youngest bowler in LPBT history to win the United States Open. She did it in 1986 from Las Vegas, Nevada, Wendy McPherson Papanos. The number 2 seed is currently ranked 3rd on the 1995 LPBT money list from Detroit, Michigan, Cheryl Daniels. And the top seed is a former United States Open champion in 1992 from Northridge, California, Tish Johnson. Now let's go up to our tour commentators from ESPN, Leila Wagner and Jan Schmidt.
Thank you, Lenny. Jan, this is the 2nd time in a week that ESPN has been able to bring arena bowling to the fans at home. It just seems to be the wave of the future.
It is, Leila, and part of the reason for that is that bowling has long time had the limitations of how many spectators could fit in a bowling center. Their solution to this fantastic atmosphere, the arena. The fans have loved it and the players have loved it.
Well, you mentioned that the players love it. How is that going to affect their bowling tonight?
Well, 3 of the players tonight have never bowled in an arena finals. We've only had the 1. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how the 2,000 fans out here tonight are going to affect them, and I really can't predict till I see what happens.
Well, do you think the 2 players that have appeared in arena finals before are going to have an advantage?
I really do, and right now I would pick Wendy Papanos. She has already won a U.S. Open. She has 3 majors under her belt. She's proven herself in a major, and also she won our only arena finals in Omaha, Nebraska back in May. She knows how to play to the crowd. She attributed that win partially to the fans and to drawing off their energy. She could be tough to beat tonight.
Well, it sounds like we should just hand over the title right now to Wendy, but I know those other 4 players would definitely disagree with that.
I really think that they would, and you and I both know in television anything can happen. It's a 1-game match, and don't forget, whoever has to meet Wendy when she comes on will already have 1 game under her belt, may already have the fans behind her, and whoever goes up that ladder and meets Tish Johnson, she's so tough from the top seed, and she knows how to play to the crowd. She does it every day of every week. When we talked to her last night, Leila, she said she was going to have this place a rockin' and a rollin'.
And we know another player that likes to rock and roll. She was the other player of our top 5 that have appeared in arena finals. It's Cheryl Daniels. And in contrast to those 3 players' styles, our other 2 players, they're a little more quiet, a little more reserved. It's Diana Teeters in the 4th position and Sandra Jo Shirey in the 5th position. Jan, how do you think that this crowd's going to affect them?
Oh boy, I can't even guess right now. We're just going to have to wait and see.
All right, well, we are going to wait and see, but not too much longer because we are ready to start our first match. It's between Diana Teeters and Sandra Jo Shirey. And Diana is going to be the one to throw the first ball of this first match.
That was Diana's decision. She was the number 4 seed and has chosen to start. So she'll finish the match also.
33 years old, years as a professional, 9. She does have 1 national pro title, came in 1989 in Fort Pierce, Florida.
Oh, what an opening shot. You can just hear that crowd roar behind her.
This is fantastic, Leila. This crowd is so excited.
Sandra Jo Shirey, 30 years old, 7 years as a professional, from Bronson, Michigan. And she has always been the quiet contender. Oh, ringing 10.
Great opening shot by Sandra Jo. And we'll have to wait and see how much nerve she has. I know she said she'd be nervous. She's normally nervous on TV, and she thought she'd be even more nervous with this size of a crowd behind her.
Qualified 5th with a 221 average. Very high scores this week. as it took a 207 average to make a check in the top 60 spots, a 217 average to make it into the top 24. And barely hung on, but the enthusiastic crowd said no problem.
Sandra Jo breathed a sigh of relief as she picked up that 10-pin.
You mentioned she does get very nervous, and well, before I get into that side of the field, as I was mentioning averages earlier, 174 players this week, 81 professionals, 93 BPWA amateur entrants.
That's right, and there's the averages you mentioned earlier. Those amateur entrants qualify out of each state and are brought in here to compete with the professionals.
Comes up high, comes the 6-10. Player can look for ways to try to qualify for the U.S. Open through amateur tournaments. Is that correct?
Yes, they can, and you'll find probably state qualifiers somewhere near you.
Look at that. Defeated Diana Teeters 300 to 203 in match play. Sandra Jo Shirey was one of the 3 players to shoot 300 this week, but don't feel too sorry there for Diana Teeters, because she turned around and shot 300 also, along with Dana Miller-Mackey this week. Sandra Jo converts the 6-10. 2 spares on the board for her. Diana Teeters now working on a strike, trying to get a quick jump on this match.
And there's those 3 players that you just mentioned that shot 300 games.
And the 6 slaps out the 10. Very different styles with these 2 players.
They are. Sandra Jo likes to go very direct, very straight up the boards, almost pointing towards the pocket. 222 average for Diana right there. Diana, in opposition, likes to go across the boards, open up the lane. She likes to throw the ball to the right and let it hook back.
Now, again, these players have not played on these particular lanes all week.
No, they haven't. They've been bowling at Southtown Bowl down in Bloomington, and they just got on these lanes about an hour and a half ago for the first time. Brand new lanes just installed today.
And Diana Teeters makes it 3 in a row and has a 22-pin lead. And these lanes were installed by Hedden today.
There's a look. She's actually setting the ball down left of center, getting all the way out to the 10th board, coming back all 10 pins straight back.
Sandra Jo Shirey comes up high.
Ball hooking a bit too much for her now. That is the ball she used earlier in the week in the morning blocks. When I talked to the players right before we started, they said that the lanes were very similar. The players on the right hand of the lane said that it was similar. Tish Johnson, on the other hand, said that they were very different for her today.
Interesting. We'll see how that's going to play later on in the match tonight. So I was mentioning these lanes, Jan. Hedden Bowling Corporation brought in their new Tech 4 lanes. Apparently it has a unique approach system versus the lanes. Something to look into. Dorman Spencer, the national sales manager for Hedden Bowling Corporation, was responsible for getting them in here today. Now look at the scoreboard there. Sandra Jo is trailing by 23 right now.
There you can see a good look right there. She puts 3 fingers into the bowling ball. She puts her index finger into the ball. This is relieves strain on her wrist.
And comes up light on lane 3, leaves the bucket.
She made an adjustment. The ball's been hooking a little too much for her, and it didn't get up. Maybe now she'll be able to go somewhere in between her last 2 shots and hopefully get lined up.
As long as she stays clean, she won't dig herself too much of a hole. All right, Sandra Jo converts the bucket. However, she still trails by 27 pins. We'll have more action from here at the National Sports Center when we come back. And here's the man that's rocking in the stadium now. He has got these fans rocking and rolling, even the players, during the break. And we'll get his name up here in a moment, give him some credit for all that enthusiasm he is generating. This lady right here, Diana Teeters, working on 3 in a row. makes it 4, and you talk about the crowd rolling now. Here they are. It's Midnight Madness coming to you Saturday night. At what other time than midnight? Diana Teeters, 4 in a row. Makes it 5, swishes the 5 into the 7. No problem.
Oh my, this lady, a part-time player, hasn't been out much, has had a severe injury, comes out bowls in her first time U.S. Open, first time arena finals, and look at this, starting with a 5-bagger.
What's going through Sandra Jo Shire's head right now?
As if I wasn't nervous enough, and now I have to strike.
And a wry smile. She says, yes, there it is. Now see a little deadwood down there on the lane on lane 3. We'll take a moment to get that removed.
Deadwood meaning a pin sitting in the channel, in the playing area of the lane, next to the pins. It has to be removed before the player can bowl.
And Diana Teeters perfect through 5, and there's the pin you were talking about.
This could have an effect on the shot if a pin were to bounce out of the channel and hit that pin. It could make a difference in the carry on the shot, so it does have to be taken out.
Sandra Jo just looking on here. And we'll get a chance to look at finalists by round. Tish Johnson, that has to be a record in itself. To lead from first round all the way to the end here so far. Diana made the biggest move, 67th. And Wendy hung in there all week.
Cheryl Daniels making a big move, starting in 42nd.
It's a long tournament format. 56 games these players bowled this week. 24 in match, or 24 in qualifying rather than their normal 18. Oh, cannot get a double.
Sandra Jo just can't get anything going. That was a great shot. Again, wrapping the 6-pin around the 10. And she knows she needs it. She cannot afford not to strike.
Jan, let's talk about the format a little bit this week. 2 cuts, not just 1.
Right.
Correct?
24 games of qualifying, cut to the top 60. All of those players cash. And then 8 more games semifinal round for those 60 bowlers. And then they cut to the top 24.
And all their pinfall carries over from day to day, right?
Yes, it does. The entire week. And then 24 more games of match play. And they cut to the top 5.
All right, Diana Teeters with 5 in a row. And she's halfway there, and we had a chance to ask Diana, you're bowling so great now, how come you're not going to continue?
Well, I made a decision to go to school, and I'm already in 4 weeks, and I'm going to stick by it. I might bowl one more, maybe Samstown or Rockford, and come out 96. That way I'll be sure to be ready.
I don't know, Jan. I'd have to say, I'm going next week. We'll have to see.
She looks like she's ready right now.
Shot 300 in match play earlier this week. Come on, hit it. Oh, and the 4-pin doesn't do its job. Darn it anyway. It was a good shot.
It was. The ball came up lighter than the previous shots had, but been carrying a lot of those. Again, though, in another bowling center, not on these lanes. So maybe we'll see that that's a trend and that the light hits won't carry as well tonight.
Well, this all has to help loosen her up anyway. I mean, it's one thing to get up there and win your first match, but to just even think about maybe a 300 game too, it's got to be a lot. All right, well, this lady is about to close up the door. She's got a 56-pin lead. We'll be back with the rest of match number 1 in a moment. And we're back at the National Sports Arena here in Blaine, Minnesota for the championship round finals of the BPWA U.S. Open. And right now, Sandra Jo Shirey is trailing Diana Teeters by 56 pins. It's her 4th television appearance this year, her 3rd for U.S. Open.
She's finished 3rd and 4th in U.S. Opens prior to this.
And beautiful shot there. She could actually punch out for 233, but boy, Diana Teeters has a pretty good shot here on the scoreboard. You can see she's going at about a 240 pace right now.
Yeah, she would just need to mark in really in 1 or 2 of those frames.
Diana watching her opponent. A lot of times we see players that don't watch. Yeah. Sandra Jo hasn't given up yet.
And she's fighting back, and this shy and reserved player that we talked about earlier is not going to quit.
And look at the crowd that we had. We had a nice shot of the crowd. They have these white towels they were given as they came in the door this evening.
46 pin lead for Diana.
Deep inside, ball comes in at the last minute.
Wow, that ball went out farther than she's been sending it right before.
And there's the white towels and the small fans all waving them.
She's going to set this ball down left of the center arrow, but see, she's getting it right all the way to about the 7th board. She was only going out to about the 10th board earlier, and the ball still came back. She has what we'd call some area out there.
A lot of back end reaction. It appears that maybe the lanes are a little drier in the back end.
Exactly, so she's able to get the ball back on the last 15 feet.
Look at that. Ew, 6 pin falls right in front of the 10 pin. It's all right, she says, I know I just needed a mark somewhere in those 3 frames. I think she's testing now for maybe a different shot, or finding out, maybe not so much a different shot, but to see how much area she might have.
She may. I think she wants to get a mark here, and then in the 10th frame she may move around to see how much room she actually has.
Switches balls to shoot the 10. Oh my, the ball slides off just at the last minute. Well,
so Sandra Jo could force a mark out of Diana now.
She sure could. Sandra Jo's looking over at the scoreboard. She can shoot 233. Diana Teeters has to mark to get into the 230 bracket.
Right. Yeah. And Sandra Jo right now is taking a re-rack. She knows how critical it is that she carries.
It appeared Sandra Jo liked lane 4 as well. She has struck the last 2 times on that lane. No, through a little high, went left of the head pin.
That ball was left to target when she put it down. You can see the disappointment. She never really got much right of the 9th board. She was playing closer to the 1st arrow or the 5th board. That middle of that lane is where Diana's playing, and it is hooking.
Now she converts the spare, but it's a little too late. Sandra Jo Shirey is going to have to settle for a 5th place finish in this year's U.S. Open. It'll be worth $4,000 as all the players this week shared a total purse of $100,000.
Sandra Jo is going to use that $4,000 towards a new home. They're looking for a new home.
A good investment there. She'll be marrying professional bowler Curtis Odom, I believe, August 10th next year. Well, they straighten out the trouble here. It appears something's going on with the lane down there. Sandra Jo will be up in a few minutes, but meanwhile, we'll go to commercial. When we come back, we'll have the rest of the top 24 for you. And there's a look at the trophy that goes to the BPWA U.S. Open champion, and what a beautiful trophy it is.
Boy, that would be nice on my fireplace.
Mine too, but you have to bowl to get it, don't you? They won't just give you one for meritorious service or anything like that.
I don't think so. I think one of these 5 ladies deserves it.
All right, Wendy McPherson Papanos. Starting match number 2. Comes up light.
Okay, and something I mentioned earlier on in the Open, that the player who Wendy has to meet in the first match is already maybe going to have the crowd behind him, and I really think that's happened. That crowd was very excited to see the first 6 strikes out of Diana Teeters, and I think they're going to be behind her during this match.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Think you could be right. And she picks up the spare. I'm Leila Wagner along with Jan Schmidt, and we're here for the championship round finals of the BPWA U.S. Open. We're coming to you from the National Sports Arena in Blaine, Minnesota. In the first match, this lady right here shot a whopping 247 through 10 strikes that game. Had the first 6. She defeated Sandra Jo Shirey, who shot a 212. And she's starting off just like she finished the last game.
And listen to this crowd.
And this is one of our more quiet, controlled players that we talked about in the opening here. You kind of notice she, gets in a little bit, but she's really not working the crowd, is she?
Not too much. She's a little pumped for her, but just watch what's going to happen throughout this match if they stay behind her.
Lane breakdown for Diana.
Ooh, lane 4, 8 strikes, nothing but strikes on lane 4. As for Sandra Jo, she preferred that lane also.
Well, Diana chose to finish on lane 4. So it was obvious that she had a better shot on that lane.
She did. In this match, Wendy has chosen to start. So Diana will have to finish
on lane 3.
Yeah, she made her switch.
All right. Diana missed a 10-pin in the first game. It didn't hurt her too much there, but this is a whole new match. Switches balls.
The harder surface ball, she can create some skid or slide across the lane. It's less porous, and it will slide through the conditioner.
Oh, and she did make the adjustment. She slid one off. Now she hooked by one. How do you hook a plastic ball like that?
Well, as much back ends as we see out there, the back end of the lane, the last 15 feet are really hooking. And any ball, if there's not any conditioner there, with the rotation Diana has on the ball, will hook.
And you mentioned rotation. Both of these ladies get quite a bit on the ball. Wendy's second television appearance this year, the first coming in the arena finals, Omaha, Nebraska. Ball coming up light, leaves the 2-pin.
And I think she's sending that a little farther right than she wanted to. She told me she's she had an arm injury, had some surgery, and since that time, she feels like her arm swing has straightened out, and she's trying to play a more direct game, a little straighter off the boards. And she did that all week. I don't think she's meaning to let those balls out to the right like that.
That has to be a difficult adjustment because you're used to knowing what your capabilities were. And now your swing's not doing what your mind's telling it to.
Wendy stands with the ball chest high. She has a 5-step approach. She pushes it out and down on her second step. It's hard to tell there. She drifts to the left, but we can't really get a spot on the arrows there. You see about a shoulder-high backswing. She has a medium knee bend. Actually spins the ball a bit, gets some skid through the heads in the lane, and then creates some back end for herself.
Wendy with an 11-pin lead.
There you can see how she drifted to the left. You saw that?
Light tap on the 7.
Here's a look at that drift. Look where she started. And she's going to end up in about the middle dot.
Boy.
A little bit left of that. She's actually drifting about 8, 9 boards to the left.
Sure looks like it, yes. No problem there. Diana Teeters trying to strike again now in lane 4. This has been her good lane. Boy, that 9-pin, the last to go.
She definitely is not missing a beat on lane 4.
In 3, she actually had a good shot. Just missed the 10.
Right. You know, actually, back to that drifting for Wendy, it really doesn't hurt you so much if it's a consistent thing and you drift the same amount all the time. It's not as much of a factor. Now, if that drift varies from shot to shot, then it's a bigger factor.
High game this week, 300. Low game, 172. Very consistent. Didn't get into trouble. Oh, and she carries that time. That was a big strike for Diana Teeters as she cut Wendy's lead to just 1 pin.
Had a nice look there on the trajectory of the ball going to the right.
Wendy tied and defeated Diana. Bowled her 2 times, bowled her once during the actual round of match play and then again in the position round. Look at the scores, though. They were close.
And right now we have a 1-pin match, so these two are definitely evenly matched this week.
A little farther to the right. Almost started to come in. I think that lane needed to be about another 5 feet longer.
Okay, now Wendy's either going to have to move her feet to the right and keep her target there and play more direct up the lane, or she's going to have to move everything left and get into the drier area, the middle of the lane. The players pretty much, they've tried to duplicate the condition here from this week, and pretty much they had 2 options. They could either get right and play around the first arrow, or they were in around the 3rd arrow or the 15th board.
It goes to the left of it. You know she's going to smile there. That shot, as she shot that spare, Jan, proves what you just said. They are drier in the inside.
Because you can see she went across the middle of the lane, and in the backhand, the ball hooked to the left. She was trying to hit the right side of the 2-pin, caught the left side, and was fortunate to carry out all 4 pins.
Wendy won this prestigious championship in 1986 as an amateur. She actually went all the way up the field
At
to
just
do so.
18 years of age, the youngest ever to win the U.S. Open.
And she carries the light hit. Still has a lead by 1, but Diana Teeters right now can regain the lead by 9 pins if she can strike for the turkey here.
And you see that arm, 2 arm braces on her elbow area. She actually had tendonitis, but it was in the inner elbow, and she still is having problems with that. It actually caused all different things in her swing, and it caused her to quit bowling for a good period of time.
Cross is over. That was her good lane, too.
Ooh, and she has not missed on that lane. That ball going Brooklyn.
Timing there, bad shot.
Yeah, I would say the ball got to the line a little early. She didn't have the leverage she's had to skid it through the heads. You see she's a little indecisive there. She lined up and then she moved more to the left.
So she is fearing that inside. Oh, no.
Oh, my.
Single pin spares are starting to haunt Diana.
And you see she moved her feet more to the left, fearing the way the ball just hooked. And actually, she wound up missing to the right. If she would not have moved, she might have had it covered, but she saw the way that first ball hooked.
So there is that oil on the right side of 10.
Exactly. She got it where she's playing. That would then become her out of bounds. Looks like she slipped a little bit.
Heard the crowd yell set. The ball jumps in high. Here's the 3-6.
Okay, when you're bowling the U.S. Open and you're in front of all these people and things start to unravel, it can be very difficult to regroup. Diana right now, she's probably hoping for a commercial break so she can sit down and relax and try and figure out what's going on out there.
Well, she doesn't have to wait too much longer, because we will have one coming up shortly. All right, with an open in the 5th, but a spare in the 6th. Diana Teeters still trails by 14. Will be Wendy McPherson-Papanos up when we come back. We're back now. This is Diana up in the 7th frame. Finally hits lane 4 again. what a relief to her. Don't leave a single pin. While we were away, Wendy McPherson-Papanos left a 7-pin, converted it in the 6th, then followed it up with strike in the 7th. This is Diana now in the 8th. She doubles. She is trailing by just 4 pins.
Okay, Diana used that commercial break to her advantage, as opposed to several players thinking it's a disadvantage. She regrouped. She had her notes out. There's that strike in the 8th frame. She looked like she moved a little bit deeper on that lane. Oh, that's major determination on that face.
Computer science major Diana is. You know she has determination there. To the right, lane 4 does not appear to be hooking outside of 10.
No, it doesn't. And Wendy's making a motion coming off the approach as if she's not getting a really good slide, which may cause her to not get the ball through. And it's, you know, she's a little bit less aggressive, a little tentative. Ball's going to the right.
Well, where she's playing, Sandra Jo also had a little problem on lane 4. Maybe they didn't feel like they were quite getting enough back end on lane 4. So where Sandra Jo actually went left of target a couple times. She couldn't trust it. Didn't feel comfortable trusting it.
Yeah, that's right. She had the same problem over there.
Well, Wendy spares. However, she would have really liked to have that strike there in the 8th to increase her lead. She still, however, leads by 4. She has been clean through 8 frames.
You know, Wendy was thrilled just to be here. She just went and worked with Sam Baca over about a week ago. She said she really didn't have time to even work on it. She felt like her timing was very late. In other words, the ball got there too late to the foul line. So she worked on pushing the ball down quicker instead of out so far to get the ball moving sooner and get it to the foul line sooner.
A little high, 4-pin remains. Something else she said too was she was kind of worried there in the final game of match play, because the past few years she has actually bowled herself out of the championship round finals.
She did. As a matter of fact, last year she was 100 pins. She thought she was locked into the show. She was in by 100 pins with 1 game to go and fell out. She started off last night with an open in the 3rd frame and started to wonder. She said she had to really dig deep to hang in there.
And that's what being a professional is all about. When the going gets tough, you dig deep and the tough get going. And right now, this lady would like nothing more than to get going and keep it going with a strike in the 9th.
She could take over the lead right here by 7 pins if she strikes.
There's a little farther left. What a great shot. She has put herself in a position now to lock out Wendy McPherson-Papanos.
She moved deeper on that shot, as you mentioned. She moved her feet and her target left.
Diana Teeters with a 7-pin lead. Can shoot 225 if she goes to the wall. Wendy can only shoot a possible 208.
She needs this first strike here to shut her out, and then some pin count.
Oh, what a super shot, and she knew it. Came back, looked up, but wait, maybe she didn't know. She doesn't even know it's the 10th frame, Jan. She looked over and said, it's the 10th. I think she is just one shot at a time. Need 7 pins right now. Close the door.
Exactly. 7 pins would shut her out on this shot. It is a little confusing for the players because there isn't really a scoreboard that's easy for them to see. Lenny Gessler, who's down there with the scoreboard, is quite a ways from the player, and the overhead projector really doesn't have frames marked, so she wasn't sure what frame she was in.
Oh, and that's one way to seal it all up. She carries the light hit. Now Wendy looking over, realizing it is all over. Really a superb comeback after missing 2 single pin spares for a player that does not have a lot of television experience, not to get unraveled. Meanwhile, Wendy McPherson-Papanos will take a check home for $5,000 and a 4th place finish. Oh, what a shot to finish it out. Diana Teeters ends up shooting 225. And that lady will advance when we come back. Wendy McPherson-Papanos finishing out. Check for $5,000. Don't go away. We'll have more action. And we're back for the semifinal match of the BPWBA U.S. Open. We're coming to you from the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota. Diana Teeters is going to begin match number 3. Interesting. Cheryl's allowing Diana to finish on lane 4.
That is extremely interesting. I wonder if Cheryl might have a better shot. There you see 11 strikes on lane 4. I guess Cheryl maybe doesn't know that.
I don't think she had a chance to read the graphic earlier. However, they do have very similar games, so maybe Cheryl has a better shot on 4 as well. Rings the 10, looks over and smiles.
Okay, now she's missed 1 to the right, 1 to the left.
3rd time's a charm. That's probably why she looked over and smiled.
Yeah, it's hard to shake that off. Right now she has to just forget those. Easier said than done oftentimes.
I know her husband Larry is sitting back up against the television booth here. Now she's going to really look over. Yes, I made one. Big relief for Diana. Probably sitting there saying, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can do it. Cheryl Daniels. What a great year this lady has had. Oh, 7-pin, the last to go.
It's not often that you see the 7-pin fall forward on a solid hit.
She won the mixed doubles earlier this year. Age 36, been on tour 16 years, and it took her quite a while to win that first pro title.
It did, and you know, the first good year she had really was 1989, and now this has far surpassed 89. She said in the past she'd always try and get better, try and get better. Well, this year she decided to keep doing what was getting her there.
Said, I made no changes this summer. I stayed with the same game. I didn't compete a lot, just bowled a little here and there. Which sometimes I guess that's what it takes. Get other people like Diana. Boy, she's really been working on her game.
She has. She's been trying to come back, though, from that arm injury, and it takes a lot of work to overcome an injury.
Super pin reaction, and there's a look at Larry, her husband. As I mentioned, he was sitting back behind our booth here. Back up against it.
Diana holds the ball straight out in front of her. Now watch her backswing. Her hand is going to twist in. This is how she injured the elbow. Watch it. There it goes. She's got the ball inside. That's a hard position to hold it in. Very high backswing, and then she opens the hand back up. This is something that really threw her game off. It started with the injury. It caused her to try and relieve the pressure and start to drift, and a lot of things changed in her game.
Very strong wrist as well. She has it in that extreme cupped position at the very top of her backswing. Look at Larry. What a big breath he took. And next to Larry, we caught a quick glimpse there of Judy Sutar, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Diana has a very strong release position, as you mentioned. She actually almost does a figure 8 with that hand, and she's tried to fix that and has not been able to.
Slowed up a little bit through the nose.
A little tentative on that shot.
6th television appearance this year, as you mentioned, just has surpassed all the previous years.
And most of the things really over the summer, like you said, didn't want to change anything. What she did do is just work on her music.
And recently, she's looking to shop an album. She's only missing 2 songs, and we asked her about those.
I'm going to entitle it, I'm going to title it after one of my favorite songs called Dreams, and that's going to be the theme of it. I wrote it about 6 years ago, and it was right before I won my first professional title, and it's kind of a personal song, but a lot of people, after they've heard it, have really related to it well and thought that it would be a really good theme song for my album.
So you record people out there, look for Cheryl's records soon. She's hoping to finish up those 2 songs and start shopping it around, get a label on it, and we wish her the best in that quest.
Only 3 of the songs on the album were written by other people. The rest were written by Cheryl Daniels and some other co-writers. Cheryl made an adjustment there, came up a little bit lighter, didn't carry out the 7. Good, solid conversion.
Diana working on 2 strikes right now, has a 15-pin lead here in match number 3.
When I finish on that arm swing, she said that what she's learned in the last year is that she cannot correct that. She went through so many different things trying to correct it, and she cannot. So now she's gone to 14-pound equipment.
It sure doesn't appear to hurt her. Oh, and we have even the youngest fans in the crowd. What a cutie.
Huh.
Diana increases her lead now by 25 pins.
So those of you at home that are considering going to lighter equipment, hey, it may not hurt you, especially if you can rotate the ball the way Diana does. It doesn't seem to hurt her at all.
It may help even now because the resin at times has a tendency to just overhit. This lighter weight equipment might keep the pins a little lower.
Right, it creates deflection. It will deflect off the pins because it's a little lighter.
Oh, ringing 10 again. Well, she did it once now. She knows she can. We know she can.
I'm sure she'll be fine now. Once you get past that, you get a little shook if you miss a couple of them, but once you get past it, you're okay. At least that's been my experience.
And she makes it 2 10-pins in a row that she converts. We're midway through the 3rd match. It's Diana Teeters with a 24-pin lead. We'll be back in a moment. We're back now with the rest of match number 3. Cheryl Daniels working on 2 strikes. Makes it 3 in a row. While we were away, Cheryl Daniels threw strikes in the 5th and 6th. She doubled there, forced Diana. She struck in the 6th, but then went high through the nose. She put the pressure on her a little bit. This is a shot in the 7th.
She's actually inside a target here. Never got the ball right far enough, and it hooked right under the nose. And then in trying to pick up the spare, lost some critical pin count, only getting 1 pin.
Gave it a good try, though. Took the 7th pin off at the 4. She couldn't get to slide over to take out the 10. Meanwhile, Cheryl Daniels has stopped striking, leaves a 4 pin. She now has the lead by 9 pins.
That was a huge turn of events right there.
That's right. Diana went from leading by 14 in 2 frames, trailing by 9. 23-pin swing.
And Cheryl started off this match really trying to get into the crowd for 1 or 2 frames, and now she seems a little more subdued. I don't know if it's because she got behind and didn't get herself motivated, but right now she's taking the lead back over. I think we'll see her get a little more pumped up on her next shot.
I think that's a big key, what you said. When the players are bowling good, it's easy to get in and get that crowd working with you. All right, Diana Teeters answers back with a strike in the 8th, trying not to get too far behind. And coming to you from the United Center, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the hometown team, the Chicago Blackhawks. And yes, one of the best is back. It's four-time scoring champion Mario Lemieux is going for 500 career goals. That's Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Diana could take the lead back right here with a strike.
She went high last time on that lane. She gets it. She has performed well in the 9th and 10th frames.
You would think she's a tour veteran with 5 or 6 U.S. Opens under her belt.
My goodness, look
see
at
how that
this
ball
shot.
farther to the right. See that?
Beautiful. And Cheryl Daniels leaves the 4-pin. Back-to-back 4-pins for Cheryl. Just not quite deep enough, Jan, or?
She could probably move a little bit deeper. Yeah, she looks a little slower than she was during the week. But if she's going to throw at that pace, she would need to move a little deeper, try to find a little more lane conditioner.
Okay, trailing by just 2 pins. She would love nothing more than to put 3 strikes in a row right here. She chose to finish out this match on lane number 3 and see if it helps her out. All right, we're coming up in the end of the 3rd match. I'm Leila Wagner along with Jan Schmidt. We're here in the semifinals of the PWBA U.S. Open Championship. Cheryl Daniels gets number 1. Fist up to the crowd. Yes, thank you. I wanted it.
Okay, she projected that ball farther out onto the lane. She was able to get it to slide a little bit more through the front part of the lane. That's been a key to Cheryl's bowling this year. She said she used to, as she'd call it, flick her wrist. She'd set the ball early and just flick through it. And she's been really working on staying long with the shot, being able to get it to skid through the heads on the lane. And she hasn't done that so far tonight until now.
More ball speed. Super shot. Yes. Another. All right, she has now forced Diana Teeters to throw the first strike in the 10th and follow it up with 9 spare.
And that would depend on her pin count right here as to how many Diana would need after that first strike.
Well, just like I said, what a finish for that lady right there. 3 strikes in a row, ends up with 223.
There it is. Solid in the pocket, all 10 pins back.
That's enthusiasm.
What a sense of accomplishment.
Diana Teeters taken a re-rack. Has not been in this position tonight.
She's been the one leading.
She is on her good lane. She must strike to win. Trusted it. It was there. Wow, what a great match this has been. Both ladies under the pressure.
Cheryl can just sit and look on now. Diana needs at least 9 on this ball and then a spare. If she gets 8 on this ball, we could have a tie.
And then the players would go into a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. Set it short.
Oh my, she did not project that down the lane. She now has 8. A spare here will be a tie game at 223.
I'm just shaking. I feel the tension that these two players are feeling.
She was fortunate to trip out that 10-pin at the last minute, or it would have been a loss.
Not one of her better shots of the night. You have to know that the pressure is there and the nerves.
Right now she was down there actually looking at both of her balls, her spare ball and her strike ball. I think she's not sure how she wants to shoot this.
That's right. We've seen her slide by a 10 and hook by 1.
She slid by a 9-pin on this lane.
She went with the ball that hooked. It got the drive, chops the 3 off the 6. What a disappointing finish for this lady. It has to be.
That's heartbreak. She bowled so well.
As Diana hugs her husband, she finishes 3rd, $7,000. We'll be back with the championship frame. You won't want to miss it. It'll be a good one. And it's now time for the championship match. And we are here at the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota. Cheryl Daniels has advanced to take on Tish Johnson. And we think the crowd's been slowly getting warmed up. They should be screaming by the end of this match.
So look, Cheryl's done better on lane 3. 5 strikes, 3 of those in the 10th frame, though.
She did end the last game on lane 3 with 3 beautiful shots, just like that one.
So Tish is making Cheryl end on lane 4 this time.
And before we get too far in this match, I want to thank our DJ. His name's Chopper, for all the entertainment he has provided us. Through the commercial breaks, Tish Johnson opens up with a rip-roaring strike. Tish Johnson is in first place, but that might not be the best thing for the U.S. Open, because only 3 people out of 15 have won from the top seed position. Lisa Wagner did it in '88, Robin Romeo in '89, and Dee Dee Davidson, the most recent, in 1993. But this lady should be right up there with them because of her record from the #1 position.
Right at 21 times, she's won 15 times from that #1 seed.
Qualified first with a 227 average.
She ran out that shot. She thought that she was going to strike, and it actually did not get up.
And she did not get a good slide. Totally misses the 3-9. Opens the door now for Cheryl Daniels.
Right now she's checking the sole of her shoe. One of the comments she made last night was she was excited that she thought the approach area would be a wood type of surface and she wouldn't have trouble with her footing. But she did, I noticed in practice, have a little bit of trouble, and obviously did on that shot.
Cheryl Daniels, however, crosses over, allows Tish to breathe a little bit.
She has struggled a bit on lane 4.
That score was in match play. Cheryl's kind of saying, hang on, hang on. Now look at the season money leaders. As you can see, Tish Johnson having a great year. Cheryl Daniels right up there as well. Both of these ladies right now trying to win the $18,000 first place prize.
And working out in our truck right now was #4 on that list, Carolyn Dorn. Getting us stats and providing the graphics that you see on screen.
Does not get the 10.
Ball not quite finishing there. She's going to change balls, go to a harder surface, create slide across the lane.
And another big sigh. She doesn't feel like she's picking those up with a lot of confidence.
No, it doesn't look real comfortable. Oh, she's not getting a good slide at the corner.
Tish now trying to regroup after she hooked by the 3 and the 9. And does so beautifully. I love one of her goals. And you'll have to join Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Joe Theismann, and Sterling Sharp for the best NFL pregame show on television. It's NFL Game Day, Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Oh, and trying to cut the lead down to just 3 pins for Daniels. Does not do it. Ball hooks in high. Leaves the 6-8-10.
She was trying to make an adjustment. The first shot on lane 3 she thought would get up, and it didn't. She actually tried to point this ball a little bit towards the pocket or not send it as far left. Went pretty direct. Ball finishing too hard.
Oh, nice run at it. And Tish holding her head.
She told me that for Tish, on the left side of the lanes were different. She did not have as much back ends, which is why she was trying to help that ball get to the pocket.
Cheryl leaving a 4-pin. And that's really something I know Tish over the years has not been very comfortable doing. That is not her A game, trying to point the ball a little bit more. She definitely likes to swing it.
Exactly, and that's because of her hand position at the release. She's so open, and she follows through to the left. In order for her to point the ball to the right, it's very difficult.
Now it's 26. Cheryl converting the 4-pin. 13 cashes out of 14 events this year for Cheryl Daniels, as well as Tish Johnson. High game this week, 278. Low game, 159.
Just saw a look at the tension on Tish Johnson's face. Now, she is aided a little bit because Cheryl hasn't been striking. At least she's not running away with it right now. Otherwise, Tish might feel like it's really getting away from her. But right now, it's still a close enough match that she can come back, and she knows it. Come on, is what she's telling herself.
Cheryl hits her good lane. Tish has been in the championship round finals for the U.S. Open 3 times. She was able to catch the title in '92. She lost the title by just 1 pin in 1990. And she finished 5th in 1994. Well, we don't see that left too often. The 1-5.
No, but she did have a problem with her footing there.
Great week. Broke 2 10-year BPAA U.S. Open records. 16-game pinfall record. It was Patty Costello on both of those records, I believe. And we had a chance to talk to Tish about breaking records.
Well, to hold the record was held for 10 years, and I beat Alita for one of them, and I beat Patty Costello. Both of them were ex-roommates, so for me, that feels really good to do.
Well, that answered our question. We thought Patty was both. It was Patty one and Alita still on the other. Tish has given herself a pat on the back.
Okay, and she's trying to see if she can get the crowd behind her and get herself motivated to come back in this match. She's 37 pins down at this point.
When we talk about digging deep, Tish Johnson is going to have to. The last half of the game is this lady has had a pretty decent shot throughout the whole game. Has left 6 pin, a 10-pin, and a 4-pin, along with her 3 strikes. Here's a look at the scoreboard, 47-pin lead.
Oh boy, to lead a tournament the entire week, a U.S. Open, except for one round where she was tied with Cheryl Daniels. She has been on top by herself. You know, she feels like it was her event, and you have to feel that way in that position.
Well, you know, ironically enough, that's happened a number of times in the U.S. Open. I remember Lori Nichols led this event by over 400 pins. Karen Ellingsworth came up to win it. Anne-Marie Dugan came up to defeat Leanne Barrett one year, who had led by over 400 pins. There have been a number of players to win by, or to lead by 400 pins and lose it in one game.
Boy, Tish is just not comfortable now.
Oh
boy.
Just asked Lenny to see if I can break 100. Well, you know she can. That's not going to be the problem. Defeated Cheryl Daniels in position round 239 to 206. But right now, she can shoot a possible 191, but she needs them all. And she needs to hope something happens to Cheryl along the way.
There's one. You know, the last time she won, she came from behind, but this is a long way down to come from.
Only 3 frames left for this lady right here. This is Cheryl Daniels' first major event that she is about to capture. She's worked a lot of years for it, 16 years out here on the national tour. I have to use a word that Wendy used last night. She said, we asked her about what the key of her success here in the U.S. Open. She said patience, or in the major, patience.
Patience, and that's what Cheryl Daniels had earlier tonight to get by Diana Teeters.
And we not only have 1 fist now, we have 2 going up in the air. It's all over. Cheryl Daniels is the new BPAA U.S. Open champion. Tish Johnson is going to have to settle for 2nd place. Check for $9,000 to our 2nd place finisher. Cheryl, for the records, needs 1 pin. Tish says, sure, now I can strike.
Of course.
Well, she has a U.S. Open title to her credit. She's still looking for the Triple Crown, though. She is lacking the Queen's title.
Exactly. Right now, she's handling this very well in front of all of these fans that supported her all week.
I think the 6-8 was really a turning point. She made a decent shot on that ball.
Yeah, that really had to bring her down, and she had to work hard to pump herself back up, and it was tough when Cheryl started striking like that.
Well, now talk about playing to the crowd. She's up there talking to them. We once again have Deadwood sitting in on the channel in lane 3. Cheryl says, come on. Well, she gave Tish a little pat.
It's 160.
That's our newest champion.
She looks awfully calm sitting there.
She does. Where's the tears of joy? Apparently, the match is over. Cheryl Daniels does not need the 1 pin. We'll be back to talk with our champion. There's the smile. That's right. Let's give a big hand to our newest champion, Cheryl Daniels. Congratulations. Final score in the championship match, 235 to 180. And Cheryl, along with the title, you get a lot of stuff. Tim Rice is here to present, first of all, the jacket. Tim is the operations manager for the BPAA.
Cheryl, congratulations on behalf of our 31 members, 3,100 bowling center members. We have a jacket here for you. We hope you'll wear it proudly, and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, as Cheryl puts on the jacket, looks like it's a perfect fit. Here comes Kurt Brose, the president of the BPAA, with, yes, the Eagle Trophy.
Cheryl is the 1995 Women's U.S. Open champion. It's a pleasure to present you with this beautiful trophy. And also, again, this is the 25th year of the Women's U.S. Open. Congratulations. Beautiful job.
Cheryl, are you glad it didn't take you 25 years to win it?
I can't thank the PWBA enough for hosting this event, for the Minneapolis Bowling Proprietors, Southtown Bowl, and the many fans that came out and supported us all week, and everybody that worked around the clock to install the lanes here. It's just been an unbelievable week.
All right, well, you got the jack and you have the trophy, but I don't know, is this the most important part is the check for $18,000? And Jack Moran?
Cheryl, on behalf of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, it's my pleasure to present this check for $18,000. Congratulations.
All right, and I know, Jan, you have a question for Cheryl?
Cheryl, what does it mean to win your first U.S. Open, first major title?
You know, this week has really been incredible. I started out kind of slow, and I just kind of tried to stay focused, and everything just kind of fell in place. I didn't want to pressure myself because this tournament means so much, because it's such a big tournament and so prestigious. But, I mean, it's just like kind of icing on a cake, and it's my first major, and I'm just I can't even express how excited I am about it.
Did you feel fortunate to get by that match with Diana Teeters?
Very fortunate. So many times when I've been on TV, I just keep saying if I can just get a few breaks, and this time I got so many breaks. That just loosened me up after that.
Well, that could be actually a new name for a song.
That's true.
And did you think you would get by Tish? You know, congratulations, Tish. You bowled so great all week. And did you think you'd get past her?
Well, you know, Tish is so explosive. I mean, when she gets lined up, she can just strike at will. And I knew that when I knew that I kind of loosened up after getting that break against Diana, but I knew I had to bowl, you know, because once Tish, if she gets lined up, she can strike at will. So I thought if I kept focused, I could, you know, I had a pretty good shot at winning. You know.
Well, congratulations to Cheryl Daniels. For Jan Schmidt, I'm Leila Wagner. So long, everyone. And don't forget to join us for our next telecast as the LPPT moves on to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Kim Straub will be trying to defend her title in the Three Rivers Open. That's Thursday night, October 12th at midnight. And coming up next, all the scores, all the highlights, and all the stories on SportsCenter.